Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, it's Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Mel.
Hi.
And by Pat.
Yeah.
Whoa, what was that?
No, my voice is not good.
Try again.
Kia ora.
And we've got Anthea.
Kia ora.
And because we're recording in the school holidays, Lexi's around.
Hello. Just a reminder, before we get started, to use my code ANTHEA, ANTHEA, for 10% off all courses at Monaco Nail Academy. I get a kickback from these enrollments, and they're how we support the production of the podcast.
Or you can use my code PATSADEV or MELF.
Yep, I have one too. That's Jungle Nails.
And so today we are going to be taking our topic from something that popped up in one of the group chats for our Monaco community, where one of the students was expressing frustration that we can all relate to about how she just wanted to be a nail tech, but like, do we really have to be able to do 5 jobs to be a nail tech? Like, we have to be able to market and do social media, and we have to be able to take good photos, and we just thought we'd have a conversation around that. But before we get stuck in, what were we talking about last week, Mel?
Last week we were listening to horror stories. Lots of different horror stories, some client related, some like space related, but yeah, that'll inspire you to become a nail tech. People's horrid toes and shit covered hands. Cool, come join.
I guess it's like, what do they say? Like, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. So if you can't handle putos, then you don't deserve flexibility and self-employment.
Yeah, you just don't. So,
and I fully support, if that's where your limit is, I fully support it.
I think joining in on that one though, because I came late to that podcast and I heard some of the horror stories, but what I really recognized was that with the skills that we have and that we've learned, we all know how to handle those situations. So these horror stories happen, but we know what to do and how to handle them. And then we come away to our nail tech friends and go, oh my God, there was poo under those nails.
Or we fake it till we make it. We have no idea how to handle it and we just pretend.
Yeah. And the amount of horror stories compared to like amazing stories is very low. So don't let it put you off.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, so diving into this week's episode, I thought that how we might tackle this is just to sort of talk bit by bit about the things that we have to do that aren't nail related. And this will relate to other salon, like beauty industry jobs as well. But we all know when we become nail techs that we do nails. We're going to learn how to do gels and manicures and maybe pedicures and stuff like that. But who wants to kick us off with a job that comes with the job that you weren't expecting?
I think at the start for me, it was like being an accountant. Like I really didn't understand like costs incoming, costs outgoing. And I wish I had just outsourced it right from the start. So that's my advice to you. If you're not good at with numbers, like me, outsource it, and then you don't even have to worry about it. You just know it's done correctly.
I think you threw me with the that you were not expecting part, because I kind of had an inkling about a lot of the stuff that I resent having to do in order to be a nail tech. But for me, I already had a background in digital media, and so being a nail tech and coming to it and seeing that I have to actually participate online and represent myself online, like I'm done with that. That's not the job I want to do. I want to do nails. So yeah, that's where my frustration sits at the moment. Like I don't want to be posting on Instagram and writing captions and all of this. I want to make pretty nails.
I think with the like the accounting side of things that Mel brought up, I think, well, I don't know that no one told me I'd need to do it, but that was fun to me. Like, as soon as I had a client, I was like, better make a spreadsheet. Like, that part was real fun to me.
Color code it.
Yeah.
You guys do. But that's not me. And I mean, I knew it was a part of it. I just guess I didn't understand how like much of a part it is.
Yeah, I definitely didn't do it properly for a real long time. I just wanted to track it because I'm such a gamification, like my brain naturally gamifies. So then I just wanted to track stuff and try and do better and all that kind of thing and just went for it with spreadsheets, but I did not do it properly. And my very first tax return I did by myself because I just I didn't even consider, well, first of all, it was the olden days, so there was no like Xero or Henry or any of those things. You just had spreadsheets and boxes of receipts and an accountant. And I just sort of assumed that that was for real business people, quote unquote. Like I didn't think it applied to me sitting in my spare bedroom at home. So I did my tax return myself, and I know it took an entire weekend.
The tax part I was kind of aware of because I had already been self-employed, but one surprise that came with that was actually managing stock. So keeping track of what I had and then also what I had for retail, how much I had, how much I spent on it, how much it was worth, the depreciation. And it was fun being able to charge my new iPhone as a work expense though.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know I could do that for a long time.
Me neither. And I think that inexperience, it cost me in the end because yeah, I wasn't claiming like what I could have, and yeah, I definitely could have done that better. So I would do that better if I could go back.
I'm still really bad at that. Like it'll be after the fact that I'm like, "Oh shit, that could have been a work expense." I'm actively trying to get better at that now. But I was
App that's like, and maybe the app is Henry, which I haven't signed up for yet because I've had an actual accountant, and this is my last year with her. But I want an app where I just take a photo of the receipt because I remember going to Tairua to sleep over at Penny's, and we went to the bar, and I was like, "Yep, this is a work trip. These are work expenses. These cocktails are on the business, but you need to keep your receipts to claim it." And if I take a photo, like it's just lost in the ether. I just need to open the app that's like business expense, snap, done.
I
Yeah.
think you can do that with most of them now. Like I have Zero and you can do that. And then we have to hashtag not a sponsor before Mel talks about Henry because she's Henry's biggest fan. So that one I'm pretty sure you can do with Henry as well.
Yeah, you totally can. And I've said it before, but I learned about Henry at the comps last year when we all went out for dinner and everybody else is taking photos of their receipts to upload to Henry. And I pull out my little sandwich bag, open up my sandwich bag and put my receipt in my sandwich bag and then put it back in my pocket to like deal with later. And I was like, wow, like get with the game, girlfriend. And then after that, I swapped to Henry. So yeah.
We've got to get you an affiliate code with Henry because I have heard you
Honestly,
bang on about it.
they need to hire her.
It's just so easy for people like me who don't, it's not my thing. I don't really care about it. As long as I know it's done, then all good. You handle it. Like it's very easy.
I'm going to give it a go.
I didn't think at the start that it applied to me because it was just a side hustle, a hobby, whatever, when I should have taken it seriously right from the start, and it definitely would have like benefited me to do so. But oh well, we live and learn, right?
100%. Hey team, Penny from the future here, interrupting to tell you about something super cool. If you're an aspiring nail tech ready to take the first step towards your dream career, our free 5-day Nail Tech Launchpad is here to help you decide if this is the right path for you. 5 videos over 5 days giving you a taste of what it's like to be a nail technician, an overview of the basics, and insight into whether this career fits your lifestyle and budget. It's totally free, can be done in your own time with less than a 2-hour total commitment, and it starts on Monday. Sign up today and start your journey to becoming a nail tech at www.monaco.ac.nz/launchpad. I think one of the things that surprised me the most, like marketing, social media, photography were all mentioned in this group chat, but I think for me, just marketing was fun, so I just did that. Social media wasn't like Facebook existed the end, and you could post something on Facebook and get 100 likes within an hour. Like it was nothing to do that because the algorithm was so different. Photography, wasn't something you had to do when I first started. Like, I used a little digital camera with an SD card that I then had to move the photos onto my computer to then post onto Facebook, which smartphones also didn't exist, so you were only doing it on a computer. But none of that necessarily surprised me, and if it was something that surprised you guys, we can come back to it. But the thing that surprised me was the demand on my time by customer service. Like, I've spoken about this before, but just the idea that I would get up early to make sure that I replied to all my texts and all my emails and stuff before I started my fully booked day, and then do my fully booked day, get to the end of the day, and have people complaining that I hadn't replied to them faster. Like, people saying like, oh, well, I tried, sorry, I've booked somewhere else because I didn't hear back. And you look at it and you're like, it was 3 hours. I was busy. Or like people that call 4 times in a row and then send a text and are like, can someone call me back? And it's like, no, I can't. I'm working all day, and my priority in between clients is to run to the toilet, not to call you back. But the level of pull on my time for customer service, which is so much better now with online booking availability, and also hashtag not a sponsor. I use Fresher, and they have a new thing, a waitlist function. So if you go to book online and you can't find a spot you want, it says down the bottom, like, can you not see what you want? Join the waitlist. And you put your name and number and the times and days that you would want to be available, and then join the waitlist. And if a cancellation happens during the time frame that you, the client, set, it automatically books you in. So me as the nail tech, I have nothing to do with it, but I can also see the wait list. So if the reason someone didn't find a spot was because they wanted a 50-minute service and there was a 45-minute gap, I can see that and be like, oh, I can do that, and pop them in, and I don't miss that booking. So that stuff makes stuff way, way, way easier. But definitely the pull on just my time for customer service, I did not anticipate. I think partially because I expected that I would get calls and texts and stuff to book, because how else are you going to get bookings? What I didn't expect was the expectation of other people on how quickly I should reply, how often I should reply, like how I should be going back and forth in a whole text conversation. And I definitely didn't anticipate how often or how many people change their appointments or cancel, or like that level of admin. I think I just thought you take a booking, you do the booking. But actually there's so many people changing, moving, canceling. Can I add this? Can I bring my friend? Can I whatever? That was a surprise to me.
I guess customer service admin, like on that topic, it's just interacting with people, and I guess I'm lucky where I just respond and it's fine. But I definitely see other people facing that challenge as well, of how do I respond to all these people, and it can get overwhelming because you need to talk to people. You need someone sitting across from you to do your job, but getting them there is maybe something people don't anticipate. You're just like, I'm going to have clients, I'm going to do their nails, but there's actually a lot of work before that point of sitting down to do the nails.
One of the interesting things about, I guess, the industry or working as a business these days. What the fuck is up with my voice? Shit's rough. Anyway, I was having hot tea. Anyway, I will dash off after I say this to get hot tea, and I'll come back. Like, if you have the enough clientele and enough income and your operating expenses are low enough, you can choose to outsource some things. Like, for example, outsourcing your accounting, or you can get a virtual assistant to reply to people for you, or you can pay a social media person to do things for you as well. There are people who specialize in these things, but it may not be something that you want to prioritize spending on in the beginning, because in the beginning you just want every dollar to count and just make the most of every dollar that's coming your way, or you might not have the budget to pay for these things, or you may genuinely be like, but I really love doing the marketing, so I'm not going to let anyone else do that. And like, hell yeah, it's your business. You do what you want. But alternatively, if you're like, nah, I don't want to pay anyone to do that. Also, I don't want to do any of this. Then maybe you shouldn't run it as an independent business. Maybe you should rent a chair. Maybe you should try and become an employee in someone else's salon. Like, there are ways around it so that you don't have to be the person doing all of these things. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go get tea.
Yeah, that's right. And what I already noticed is that all of our things are different of what we didn't enjoy or didn't expect. And yeah, I think for me, like Anthea said, like showing yourself on your page and stuff was terrifying at the start to me. I didn't show my face for a long time. Like I would have clients coming and going, "Oh, it's you," like because they wouldn't know it was me, you know. Where now I'm like posting photos of myself with like weird hairdos or the fact that I need to get my eyebrows done or whatever, just real stuff. And my goal with that is to be real and relatable and make social media not such. Social media can be very fake and very like make you feel like you're not doing good enough because blah 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 has this or their house looks like that and yours doesn't or whatever. So let's just be real and yeah, get real. Like some of us do spend days in our pajamas some days because we feel like crap or I'm not leaving the house, so why would I do my hair? Like, let's just keep it real. But yeah, I didn't expect to enjoy that part, but now I really do love it when students will say to me like, "Oh, you're so real and just relatable." I'm like, yeah, that's like the goal. Social media should be like that, not like this intimidating place that makes you feel like you're not doing enough or whatever.
It's really good to connect with, Mel, that you know that you can connect with your avatar, like your potential customers, by showing yourself because they're starting to form a relationship with you and it makes them want to come and see you.
Hopefully, and just feel comfortable, you know, like that's the goal, right? That you want them to come and feel comfortable and, you know, like your avatar might not want to come and sit with someone that hasn't done their hair today, and that's fine, you know?
This isn't a job that we have to do, but this is something I realized I didn't expect. And that's that how much you have to change everything. So when I first qualified, like we've said in previous episodes, there was acrylic and there was hard gel. But the hard gel that was there is not the hard gel we have today. So it's basically a totally obsolete product. So there was acrylic. And then I'll have students, for example, say, well, of course you're good at this. You've been doing it this long. And I'm like, well, actually, it wasn't invented then. I've been doing nails this long, but like, I remember people asking if I did shellac and me thinking back to art school and being like, why would you want bugs on your nails? Because shellac is like a glaze kind of product made from bugs that you use in art school. And I didn't know what C&D shellac was. And I was a from-home nail tech and there was no Facebook or social media, so I wasn't following C&D. It was, you were just waiting, like a real salon or whatever would get a rep or a snail mail to tell you about a new product. I didn't have any of that. So for ages, I was like, no, I don't put shellac on nails. Why would I do that? Thinking it was the art product. And it was only after I went full time that I was like, I should look into this, and started looking it up and worked it out. Well, I was 5 years into doing nails when I started offering gel polish, and it hadn't existed before. And so even that, I haven't been doing that long. And, you know, then hard gel in its current form didn't exist. Polygel definitely didn't exist. Builder in a bottle did not exist. Most of the nail art we do now did not exist. So I didn't anticipate that I would essentially have to retrain constantly to keep up. And then not just with products, but like I said before, when you would post on Facebook, you could easily get 100 likes. I'd go like, if this post gets 100 likes in the next 2 hours, we'll do a giveaway. And it would get 150 in 1 hour, because the algorithm worked that way. And there's a previous podcast episode about why the algorithm doesn't suck, because I do not think the algorithm is the enemy, but it's just the fact of the matter that it used to work differently. So then even the way that you market yourself changes. Like, I would get calls from the paper all the time to like really regularly to ask me for quotes on different things to do with the beauty industry or self-employment and stuff, because I had a really good Facebook following for the salon. Literally all I did was post. And at the time I posted 3 times a day because that's what you did for the algorithm. So just the fact that the way I market myself, the way I use social media, the fact that Instagram, TikTok, all those things didn't exist, like everything changes constantly. Even talking about finances, Zero and Henry didn't exist. So, you know, they talk about how the human body regenerates itself every 7 years on a cellular level or whatever, but so does business and so does the nail industry. And I did not anticipate that.
Yeah, I think self-employment means constant investment in learning, and that could be products, but I was reflecting today about using AI and ChatGPT and how you just need to stay aware, even if it's just a beginner level awareness. If you know what tools are available to you, then you can invest a bit more time in learning more about or upskilling in the ones that you see are going to advance your business. And maybe that's not sitting there doing nails all the time, though definitely practicing new skills and techniques. But yeah, there's learning, there's admin.
Yeah, totally. And I only just learned about ChatGPT when we were doing the client magnet course, and I was, again, we come back to this evolving thing because I've moved locations, my circumstances have changed. So in turn, my avatar has changed. So I needed to recreate a whole new avatar and recreate this whole new life for her. And yeah, I used ChatGPT for the first time, and yeah, it was actually really fun. And I think you did it at the same time as me, Pat. Like we got into it and it was so fun. Like, yeah, I will definitely use it again. I think our next step is to create like a routine for our avatar. So yeah, I will definitely be asking ChatGPT for that help. But
Destiny, one of our grads, she actually did suggest that we use ChatGPT to help us figure out a routine for our avatar, which honestly, like ChatGPT is probably better at guessing that than us anyway, but we can always add our own flair to it, be like, no, I think that's wrong. It's actually this, this, this. Yeah.
Nothing about an avatar is a guess.
True.
I had a good laugh this morning when Penny's comment about ChatGPT not giving the right results was telling it sometimes, "Are you drunk? That's not what I want."
Yeah, my whole ChatGPT history has like, obviously I know that it's not real, so it's only when I'm frustrated, but I have definitely been like, you're off your rocker, or no, you've gone mad, I want this. And then there are definitely multiple instances of, are you drunk? I need this. And then sometimes you just like close the whole conversation and start a fresh one, because it's not ChatGPT's fault. It's I didn't word it right, what I actually wanted. And then sometimes ChatGPT gets a little bit lost, but 90% of the time it's extremely helpful.
Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting to have these new tools that can do these parts of our jobs for us. And it's just finding out what's available to take away, like Pat said, what can you outsource? And it's, more of the annoying stuff or the automated stuff we can push off to computers to do for us. And, I don't entirely trust them, and that's part of the learning process, but it is pretty exciting to know that we can hand off some of our jobs.
Hey guys, Future Penny here again. Just a super quick interruption to let you know that if you head to monaco.ac.nz/subscribe, not only can you sign up to our weekly newsletter, but you'll also get a free video lesson from our course, The Art of Pigments. That's monaco.ac.nz/subscribe. Some of the stuff a lot of the stuff I could hand off is the stuff I really like. And then the stuff that I can't hand off is the stuff I want to. Like when I was talking about the waitlist function with Frisha, like if I'm going to slot someone in, like say I have someone's requested something, but it'll take me 20 minutes over the end of my day. Well, no one else can authorize that but me, but that's boring. Doing that is boring. Like the stuff I want to do though, a lot of it can be, I love doing the marketing, and that, I don't know, that can't really be handed off, but in the same way. But like the spreadsheets and stuff, that's so fun, but that would be easy to get a VA or something automated to do.
I was trying to think of other things, like other jobs that you have to do as a independent self-employed nail tech. And one, I don't know if it surprised me, like it's, pretty obvious when you think about it, but one that I've had surprising pleasure in actually is cleaning and hygiene, sanitization, safety. When I have a client coming in, when I'm working from home, I like sort of look at the experience of walking into the space, clear out all the shoes, I vacuum, I tidy, I sweep, I make it nice, I get rid of any of the mess that they could see, like basically roll out the red carpet, and then afterwards I get real satisfaction from cleaning my tools and having things all like good and in order. So I'm not going to outsource the cleaning.
I'm envious of you enjoying that because I freaking hate it.
Oh, I used to be a total mess, but then I think I was diagnosed with ADHD and started to see everything differently, and now I get massive satisfaction out of order, and how it helps me. Yeah. So it was just a change in perspective for me, but I totally understand being like, actually, I don't care.
I love order, but I'm not the person who's gonna create the order. I would love to outsource cleaning or a trade swap, putting that out there into the universe. Just touching on, the cleaning and making things pretty and rolling out the red carpet. It's like a lot of us are also interior designers, when we're thinking about the one-ups. It's like thinking about, oh my gosh, can you see the rubbish bin from when you're walking to the salon? Can you see like what kind of things in this space actually reflect my brand? Is it feng shui? I don't know. Or like, is it going to be annoying if my client sits here? Like, is it big enough for their butt? There's like so many things we could be thinking about that's like interior decorator, designer kind of stuff. And it's like, some people probably hate that, but like, I think that's fun. Like, it's so satisfying to be like, I'm going to move this cabinet right here. And like, this is now going to be my pedicure station. So yeah, like me and my friend Katie, like we've been doing up our salon space over like the last few months, I guess. And yeah, every time someone comes in, someone's always going to be like, oh, hey, that's new, or hey, that's changed. And it's like, yeah, exactly. But what hasn't changed is we still have a salon skeleton. And I really should share a photo of her.
I think, Pat, you're also touching on your shopping addiction with your interior decorating. I know you're in your Temu cart looking for a new phone stand or a new armrest, or this one's pink and sparkly. I need it
100%.
good.
And so one good thing about me, like actually taking back managing the accounting, is that I actually stop and look at the numbers now, and then I go, oh yeah, maybe I don't need that. Like I have actually removed things from my cart now, so I'm proud of me. Like big props. Also, I I don't know if it's like we should expect this or not expect this, but we're basically counselors. Like
That's what I
people
was
tell
gonna
us,
say next. Yeah,
I read your mind. It's
you
that
did.
mind connection. Wow. Yeah, we're all counselors. Like people tell us some pretty freaky stuff. Like, oh, okay, I did not expect you to come and tell me this right now, but okay. Um, it's. I find that really challenging for me as a baby nail tech because I really want to listen and engage, but I'm not yet at the point where it's like everything's second nature to me. So it's like I have to think about what I'm doing and think about what I'm saying to you. And I'm just like, honestly, like I think as if I just put in the effort to be more consistent about getting clients and doing nails, then it will be easier for me to do the nails so that I can have those conversations. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you definitely end up talking about some insane stuff. Like I've had someone, a regular, walk in to get her nails done and burst into tears and end up basically stripping off to show me the bruises that her partner had done to her like 2 nights before. And I was like not mentally prepared to handle that day. You definitely have a lot of situations thrown at you that you're not prepared to handle. But I would say, as a neurospicy person, and I know we have a lot of neurospicy people in our community. One of the things I struggle with, if I'm completely honest, with the being a counselor side of things, is that sometimes I don't care. Like when we survey people on how, like, why did they want to be a nail tech? We get so many people saying, because I just want to make people happy. I love seeing the smile on their face, all that sort of stuff. Do I like when people are happy? Absolutely. Is that why I became a nail tech? No, I like doing nails. The person being on the other end of the hand is completely irrelevant to my enjoyment of being a nail tech. So when someone's telling me a awful story, do I feel empathy? Yes. I don't want them to be sad, but I don't know how to help them with it. Like, my brain goes very logical, very solution focused. It frustrates a lot of people that know me who aren't spicy, because they're like, this thing is happening in my life. And I'm like, okay, but here is the 7-step solution to fixing that problem. And they're like, no, I don't want to fix it. I want to be mad right now. And I'm like, okay, be mad. What do you want me to do? Because I only have one thing I can do, and that's solutionize. So sometimes for me, it's not that I don't have any empathy or anything like that. Do I want them to be sad? No. Do I feel bad that the client is experiencing something awful? Absolutely. But I don't know how to like socially help them with that. I've gotten pretty good at being like, what do you need from me? Do you just want to vent, or do you like, how can I help you with this scenario? But even then, sometimes people aren't used to people asking that up front. For me, that's the hardest part of navigating the whole counseling therapy side of our jobs, which is a big part of our jobs. But I'm like, okay, I don't, like, when I say I don't care, it's not that I don't care. It's that I am so logical that I'm like, okay, but I can see the solution and you're not fixing it. So like, I don't know how to help you here.
I definitely didn't expect that side of it. I mean, I knew we would talk, but I didn't expect to become so connected to my clients and go through like births, deaths, marriages, divorces, like all those, breakups and losing people. And I mean, I can think of multiple times where I've been chatting to clients and tears have just been like dripping off our faces because they're telling me about someone they've lost or babies they've lost, or I definitely didn't anticipate that. And I'm really like, if I see a stranger sitting over there crying, I will cry. Like, I don't know you, but I just feel so bad for you that I will cry, and I will be like, are you okay? And I'm fucking not okay. I'm crying because you're crying. Like, but yeah, I didn't expect that sort of like connection, I guess. I thought I would just be like, okay, this is a client, but no, you really form relationships with them.
Yeah, I guess you're saying, well, we're saying we didn't expect the intimacy. And I
Yeah.
know it's come up before, like you're holding hands with someone. And I use gloves now when I'm working with products. And most of the time I'm not holding hands. And I'm physically holding hands, but I'm not skin touching skin until I get to cuticle oil and hand cream because I take my gloves off then. So I get the benefit as well. We both admire our pretty nails. And that's a nice way to finish the service. But it's really intimate, and the stuff that people feel comfortable sharing with you one on one if you have a private space for your salon is totally different. And actually, maybe that's, if you don't want that, we're talking about boundaries here. You can either like verbalize your boundary and like maybe direct something somewhere else, like, oh, this is touching on some really hard stuff for me right now, and I've actually found help this way. Like, I've actually now got Lifeline, like the number and the text number handy for when I encounter those situations of, hey, this person needs help and it's more help than I can give. So here are some avenues where that support is available. But I think the other thing worth mentioning is making sure that when you are taking that on, because you do have those conversations and connections with your clients, and sometimes you're open to them, welcome them, and do invite that into your life, but then making sure that you have the support that you need to back that up as well, like whether you're seeing a counselor or you have friends or things like that, because it can get really heavy when it's that intimate stuff. But I think in a way it's a privilege to have it shared with you, right? There's some trust.
You know what an interesting part of being in a small town is? Is that sometimes you know someone's thing before they come. So like sometimes you've got someone coming in this afternoon, but you also know that they had a miscarriage last week. And you're like, how the F do I navigate this? Because like they know that because they know everybody knows. But you don't, but do you say that you know that they know that like how do you or then on the other end of that spectrum, maybe you know that actually they were part of a cheating scandal last week. And again, they know the whole town's talking about them, but like, do you just pretend that nothing happened, that you don't know anything because really you feel like you shouldn't know? Like, that's just another interesting perspective. Like, I found my own way to navigate it, and usually I'm way too honest, so I will just say, like, hey, I just want you to know, get the elephant out of the room, that I know the gossip version of what happened. If you want me to know exactly what happened, I'm very happy to listen. And if you'd rather we be completely distracted today, I've got a story I can tell you of something that happened to me this week. Like, that's how I've chosen to navigate that. But I'm 4 years into my small town life, and it was definitely something I didn't expect when I first moved here.
Yeah, I guess you can ask about, as you said, the elephant in the room. It's like, welcome. Like, I heard this thing was going on, and it's totally fine if you don't want to talk about it. Like, it's your thing. Let's do your nails. How do you want to deal with it? Yeah.
I think for me, if ever I've had stuff going on in my life and I know people are talking about it, because it doesn't have to be much in a small town. Like, if I know people are talking about stuff, and I'm not like so arrogant to think everybody knows everything or is talking about everything, but if I know that any part of the grapevine knows about something going on in my life, I'm always like, can you just ask me? So then I think that's why it's come back to, I will just say to them, I'm just letting you know that I do know the gossip version of whatever happened last week, but if you want to tell me the truth, I will listen. If you don't, that's okay too. But that's only based on what I would want, and that's not going to be the same for everybody. So
I
it's
like
still
how
a
you
risk.
say that you will listen. Like you say, come in and if you want to talk, I will listen. You're not saying I'll listen and correct everyone, even though you're acknowledging the fact that people are gossiping, you're allowing them to talk to you. But I think a lot of now techs also say that what's said within these walls stay here. And, so that's a nice expectation to set and to be able to offer as well.
Yeah, it's definitely another thing that you don't really um like, people will come in and say, well, but don't tell anyone. And I regularly have to tell people, well, if I was in the business of telling people, I wouldn't have a job. Like, if I was telling everybody's stories to everyone else, you would know. Or like, people will come in and sit down and be like, did you hear what happened to so and so? And I'll be like, well, I heard the gossip version, but I haven't spoken to them. And then like kind of try and change the subject, because I don't want to be known as someone who like, oh, well, Penny said, like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, I think using that word of gossip is acknowledging that, it's not necessarily true, it's potentially harmful, like labeling it.
Penny from the future here, reminding you to sign up for our free 5-day nail tech launchpad. It's the perfect, no pressure way to dip your toes in and see if nail tech life is right for you. monaco.ac.nz/launchpad.
Any other jobs we have as nail techs? We've got therapist, we've got interior designer, we've got cleaner, we've got social media marketing, we've got accountants. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the original person had said, I don't want to have to do 5 jobs to be a nail tech. And I'm like, okay, well, we have 10 so far.
That was 5, and I didn't list nail tech as one of them. I guess actually there's a job that when you're self-employed, a lot of our community have, most of us sitting here on the podcast don't have this job, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that a lot of nail techs and small business owners in our community are also mums, and that is a massive and overwhelming job. And like, I just really want to acknowledge the effort that it takes to both like be there for your children and show up your best for that job, but to also invest in your self-employed business as a nail tech, knowing that ultimately it's to support your family, but the struggle that balance takes.
Well, like Mel's literally got her kids around her at the moment while also recording the podcast. Like, it's such a juggle.
It really is. And I think, like, for me, like, I've talked about my kids a lot on this thing. When I started training, my kids were like 4, 6, and 8, I think, like very little, so still very demanding of my time. And I had another job. I think the most overwhelming and hard part as a mum was the guilt of like doing something that only is for yourself when you're so conditioned when you're a mum to put everybody else above you. And it's only just in the last few years that the sort of world has shifted to make it, make it known that it's okay for you to go to the gym, go out once a night with your friends. Like it's okay. And I remember my dad saying to me, like, he said, I would hate to be a parent right now because when you were little, your world revolved around us. Like now you as a parent, your world revolves around your kids. Like you switch your life to suit them. Like when we were kids, you just did whatever your parents were doing. Like you just got dragged along. They didn't shift their life to suit you. Where now it's kind of expected, like as a mum, you're expected to parent like you don't have a job, but then you're expected to have a job to be considered a parent, like you just can't win. So it's very hard being a mum and like a self-employed person, but it can be done. You just have to, like we've talked about lots, use your boundaries, keep your balance, remember why you do it. And yeah, I mean, after this, I get to go out here and sit in the lounge with my kids and watch movies and eat snacks because it's allowed me that flexibility to sit here and do this today rather than be at a job and the kids be palmed off to friends or whatever. Like, yeah, you can do it and it's worth it. It's worth it.
You made such a good point, Mel, about what it enables you to do rather than what it holds you back from doing.
Yeah, like if I wasn't doing this today, I would be at my other job away all day, not spending any time with kids, coming home, having to clean, cook, catch up with all of that. We're like podcasting with Monaco. Yeah, especially over this move for me, like the location, the Monaco has given me that sort of security, I guess, that I do still have a job and I can do it from whenever to literally uplift my whole life and my kids' life and still feel like secure.
I think as well that's another thing while we're listing all the jobs we have to have. We also all have other jobs. Like where that was something that moving from the city to a small town, I didn't anticipate that like people with a city brain, you have a job and you go to it from like 9 till 6 and you think nothing of an hour commute at either end. And like that was the environment I was in before where you really are like living for 2 days out of your week, which we've all heard me rant about before. But then coming to the small town, everybody here has 2 jobs. There's no one that has, well, not no one, but I can list 3 people I know in town who have a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. Everybody has some sort of flexible arrangement, probably multiple jobs, probably a side hustle. And it sounds like a lot, but actually it's what then allows us flexibility, and it's what allows, like everybody says, like when I first got here, we needed a sparky for something. And the builder was like, oh, well, you'll have to just try them on Monday because scallop season started today. And I'm like, what does that even mean? But it's because everyone here works to live, not lives to work. And it's just completely different. So then, yes, we might have 2 or 3 jobs, but having 2 or 3 so-called unconventional jobs then allows us to have these beautiful lives that are not what people think is the societal norm necessarily, especially in the cities. But that tends to be what happens when you become a nail tech, and especially a self-employed nail tech as well, is that lots of us do have multiple jobs. Like Anthea, you've done heaps of different contracting stuff. You, all 3 of you, work for Monaco as well as being nail techs. Pat, you've had Monaco and then also a separate office job and then also nails, and you do your nails in 2 locations. Mel, you started with a job, then went to full-time, then moved towns, then have now technically 3 jobs again, like because nails and your other job and Monaco. I've got nails and Monaco, and I'm running, like, I've got Airbnb in the backyard that takes a bit of time as well, and then I've helped Carl with his business. Like, that's also not being acknowledged, that it's not a 9 to 5. It's not a normal office job that you're swapping to, and there are going to be advantages and disadvantages like you touched on from the parenting perspective.
I just inherited a new one, which is running a small business that was my mum's, and she's left it to my sister and I. It's making natural products, including a cuticle oil, which is awesome. But like between my sister and I, we have to actually make the products, label the products, sell the products, deal with customers, run a website. Like I'm working on printing labels, like yeah, different. And we're not really making any money off that yet, but like, you know, we work on the business to keep ourselves afloat. I'm not diving for scallops, but I love that one.
Yeah. I knew I was moving to the right town when before I got here, I'd bought my house, but I was waiting. I was in the settlement period, and the butcher posted on Facebook to say they'd be closing at 12 because the rugby was on. I was like, this is a town with the right priorities. Like, just not necessarily rugby specifically, but just like working to live, not living to work. And I think that is probably like a good note to wrap us up on, is just that being a nail tech is not like, yes, for a lot of us, it's an obsession and a passion and a massive, massive part of our lives, but it tends to be part of an overall solution for a lifestyle, not the other way around. Like, we're not wrapping our lives around a career as a nail tech. You tend to choose nail tech, most people, for what it can do for you. And then that just means that you do have side hustles and odd hours and multiple jobs and stuff like that. But I think that's probably ultimately how we need to look at it, is instead of choosing a job, you're choosing a lifestyle, and nails is allowing that lifestyle instead of what I think is probably the mass alternative, which is you choose a career and then you build your life around that career. And that's just not what we're doing.
I just had a thought with that, which was about taking responsibility. So there's a difference between being a self-employed nail tech and taking responsibility for running your own business. But if people aren't prepared to take on that responsibility, as Mel said, you can rent a desk or go and work in a salon, but you're giving up so much as well that way. You're giving up your flexibility, you're giving up some of your income, someone else is profiting off your labor, and really you should earn the money for your skills. So yeah, I totally encourage people to run their own business, do it for themselves. But if you don't want to take responsibility, then yeah, you won't really succeed.
And just before we wrap up, if you are missing the community aspect of having had a quote-unquote real job, don't miss Monaco Summit 2025. This is 3 days of next-level nail tech training, business tips, goodie bags, but just also networking and community. And everyone is welcome. Nail tech or beauty therapists, email us and see how you can attend as well. But you don't have to have trained through Monaco. Everyone's welcome. Head to monaco.ac.nz/course/Monaco-Summit-2025. monaco.ac.nz/course/Monaco-Summit-2025, or just Google Monaco Summit. You'll still find it that way. And with that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. We'll be back next week. And Anthea, what are we covering?
Next week is actually really interesting. When students join our course, we do a personality test, and we'll talk more about that personality test and how it relates to how we teach our students. But we're also going to talk about how we relate that to our clients, and we can sort of check out the personality type of our clients and how we then service them. So I'm really interested to see how that one rolls out.
So fun. I can't wait because I really love that kind of thing. Until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy, or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ.
I'm Jungle Nails NZ.
I'm Patsitive Beauty.
And I'm Fussy B.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.